Good morning, students. Welcome to class 1. So, in today's lecture, we are going to start with the topic of photochemistry, which belongs to paper 1, unit 4. In that, principles of photochemistry, which includes quantum yield, electronic states and transitions, selection rules, modes of dissipation of energy, that is Jablonski diagram, electronic energy transfer, photosensitization and quenching process. So, let's get started. Students, the evergreen branch of science, that is chemistry, deals with the different scientific aspects of chemical transformations. Almost all chemical or physical conversions need energy to get initiated. This required energy, or say activation energy, can be supplied in two different ways. First, by increasing the temperature of reaction mixture that produces a continuous increase in energy, and secondly, by irradiating the reaction mixture with radiations of suitable energy that produces discrete energy gain. Planck's quantum hypothesis demonstrates that light is not continuous, but it is made up of tiny energy particles called quanta or photons. The energy associated with any radiation is directly proportional to the frequency of radiation, and it is expressed as follows. Students, according to Bohr's quantum model of atom and molecular orbital theory, there are different energy levels in an atom or a molecule. Hence, electrons present could occupy only these discrete electronic energy levels, scientifically orbitals. So, a definite energy is required for the excitation of an electron from one energy level to another higher energy level. The total energy of a molecule is the sum of its electronic energy, vibrational energy, rotational energy, and translational energy. The first three energies are quantized, that is, they can change only by discrete energy jump or fall, while translational energy, that is energy due to molecular movement, is not quantized and can change in a continuous manner. To cause a chemical change, energy of radiation must be sufficient to make an electronic transition from a molecular orbital of higher one. But each electronic state is associated with a number of vibrational and rotational energy levels. So, not a specific radiation frequency, but a region of electromagnetic radiation is taken into account. So, students, as shown is the Morse curves representing different energy states. The electronic excitation is superimposed upon rotational and vibrational levels. Hence, during promotion, the electron moves from a vibrational and rotational level within one electronic mode to some other vibrational and rotational level of the higher electronic mode. So, there are large number of transitions possible, which are close together and responsible for change in electronic, vibrational, and rotational energy levels. Hence, not just one wavelength, but a large number of wavelengths which are close enough will be absorbed by same molecule. There is a series of vibrational energy levels superimposed on potential curve for each electronic state. Now, the Morse curve for the ground state E0 and first excited state E1. We know that at room temperature, we have insufficient energy to populate excited vibrational levels, and most transitions will start from V0 of the ground state E0 or S0. The Franck-Condon principle tells us that during electronic transition, the interatomic distance of molecule does not change because the time required for electronic transition is equals to 10 raised to minus 16 second, which is very short as compared to the time required for vibrational transitions, that is 10 raised to minus 13 seconds. Students, to study photochemical changes, those electromagnetic radiations having wavelength from 200 nanometer to 800 nanometer are examined because this region contains energy that is from 36 to 143 kcal per mole, that is sufficient for electronic excitation from one molecular orbital to higher molecular orbital. Other radiations do not make any contribution in photochemistry. Students, thus the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of chemical as well as the physical changes initiated by light radiation is known as photochemistry. Students, the chemical change means formation of new chemical species by the consumption of reacting ones, while physical changes means those phenomena in which energy get released in different ways other than chemical change. The actual starting of life on Earth was with the evolution of blue-green algae. Chemically, evolution of life was with a photochemical reaction, photosynthesis, which is still ultimate source of food energy. In photosynthesis, the green pigment, that is chlorophyll, present in the leaves of plants absorbs sunlight, and this energy is used to convert carbon dioxide and water into carbohydrate and releases oxygen. Students, photochemistry have a number of applications in the field of science and technology. A lot of synthetically important reactions which can't be carried out in dark proceed photochemically. Another example of bioorganic photochemical reaction is the synthesis of vitamin D. Students, now let us see the difference between thermal reactions and photochemical reactions. Well, thermal reactions takes place by absorption or evolution of heat energy. On the other hand, photochemical reactions takes place by absorption of ultraviolet or visible light, that is in the range of 200 to 800 nanometer. Thermal reactions are relatively slow, as most of the energy absorbed is used to increase the kinetic motion of the reacting species, and a very small amount is used for excitation of the reacting atoms and molecules. Moreover, thermal reactions depends on molecular collisions for activation. Students, on the other hand, photochemical reactions are relatively fast because the absorbed energy is mainly used for the excitation of the reacting atoms and molecules. Photochemical reactions does not depend on collisions for activation. Well, thermal reactions. The rates of thermal reactions are appreciably affected by temperature. On the other hand, the rates of photochemical reactions are not affected by temperature, but depend on the intensity of light absorbed. Students, thermal reactions are accompanied by decrease in free energy. On the other hand, photochemical reactions are usually accompanied by increase in free energy. Now, let us study the laws of photochemistry. The first law is the Grotthuss and Draper law. In the year 1817, Grotthuss and Draper put forwarded a law. According to this, only those radiations which are absorbed by the reacting system are effective in producing chemical reaction. So, the light incident on a system should be absorbed by the reactant molecules so that chemical reaction can take place. This does not mean that the absorption of light must necessarily be followed by a chemical reaction. When the conditions are not favorable for the molecules to react, the absorbed light is either given out as heat or re-emitted as light of the same or different wavelength. If the emission is instantaneous, it is called as fluorescence. If there is delay in emission, it is termed as phosphorescence. Well, in all such cases, the absorption of light does not result in chemical reaction. Students, The Grotthuss and Draper law is purely qualitative in nature and does not give any quantitative relation between the light absorbed and the number of molecules undergoing photochemical reaction. Next is Stark-Einstein's law. Students, Albert Einstein in the year 1912 applied the concept of energy to photochemical reactions. According to this law, each molecule taking part in a photochemical reaction absorbs one and only one quantum of the radiation causing the reaction. The absorption of the quantum of light energy results in the primary step of the photochemical reaction, followed by several secondary steps called as thermal reactions. So students, according to this law, each molecule is activated by one quantum of energy, that is h mu. Hence, 1 mole of the reacting species will absorb n quanta of energy, where n is the Avogadro's number. Hence, energy absorbed is given by the following equation. The quantity of energy given by equation is called an Einstein of energy for a given wavelength. It can be defined as the energy per mole of photons. Thus, 1 Einstein is equals to n hc upon wavelength. On substituting the values, we get the equation as 1 Einstein is equals to 11.971 into 10 raised to minus 2 upon wavelength in joule per mole and 11.971 into 10 raised to minus 5 upon wavelength in kilojoule per mole. Students, expressing the wavelength in nanometers, we get 1 Einstein is equals to 11.971 into 10 raised to 4 upon wavelength kilojoule per mole. It indicates that the energy absorbed per mole decreases as the wavelength of light increases. Next is quantum yield, that is photon yield. Students, the relation between the energy absorbed and the extent of chemical reaction is expressed in terms of quantum yield or efficiency, that is represented as phi. Quantum yield is defined as the number of molecules reacting due to absorption of one quantum of energy. Thus, quantum yield, that is phi, is equals to number of molecules reacting divided by number of quanta absorbed. Quantum yield can also be defined as the number of moles reacting due to absorption of 1 Einstein of energy. Thus, quantum yield phi is equals to number of molecules reacting divided by number of Einsteins absorbed. According to the Stark-Einstein's law, quantum efficiency should be equal to unity. However, this law applies only to the primary step of the photochemical reaction, in which the radiation is absorbed, and does not apply to the secondary steps, which are dark or thermal reactions. Next is experimental determination of quantum yield. Students, quantum yield of a photochemical reaction gives valuable information about the mechanism of photochemical reaction. In order to determine quantum yield of photochemical reaction, it is essential to measure number of moles reacting and number of Einstein absorbed. Experimental setup for the determination of quantum yield of photochemical reaction is represented as follows. So as we can see, there is an experimental setup contains a source, a slit, lens, monochromator, reaction vessel and a detector. So let us see in detail. Students, initially the reaction vessel is kept empty and the light is allowed to pass through it in order to determine the light intensity. In case of solution, the reaction vessel is filled with reaction mixture and the light is allowed to pass through it for a known time and the intensity of received light is recorded. Now, the difference between the two readings will give the amount of energy absorbed by the reaction system under examination, and the contents of reaction mixture is analyzed. Then, by applying the following equation and substituting the values, we get quantum efficiency. We know the formula, phi is equals to number of moles reacting in given time divided by number of Einsteins absorbed in same time. The quantum yields of photochemical reactions are important because they inform us of the path by which the electronically excited molecules disposes of its energy. The primary quantum yield of a photochemical transformation may be different from overall or measured quantum yield. Quantum yield varies from factor to several millions. Reasons for low quantum yield is deactivation of photoexcited species before chemical transformation, recombination of fragmented intermediates, inter or intramolecular energy transfer. Reasons for high quantum yield are the photofragmented radicals by primary process initiate chain reaction. The formed product initiates another reaction, that is secondary process or number of thermal reactions. Consider the quantum yield of some photoreactions. Light source. For ultraviolet visible region of electromagnetic radiation, sunlight, arc lamp, sodium arc lamp, mercury vapor lamp, discharge tube, etc. are used and used according to wavelength range needed for examined photochemical reaction. Second is monochromator. Monochromator works as a filter for radiation source. When light for source is passed through the lens and allowed to pass through it, it will absorb all of undesired wavelength and transmit light of definite wavelength. Monochromators are generally made up of gelatin or colored glass or transparent plates with metal films of suitable thickness. Reaction cell. It is of suitable size, made generally of glass or cords, with optical place, windows for free exit and entrance of light radiation. Reaction cells contains reaction mixture and its material is inert towards chosen wavelength range. Next is detector. It is used for determining the intensity of light coming whether from the reaction mixture placed or not. The difference of these two measured intensities give the absorbed light. There are a number of detectors available commercially based on the wavelength range. So students, remember that the instrument used for the experimental determination of quantum yield is known as actinometer and the process is known as actinometry. Next is electronic states and transitions. Students, in a molecule, electrons are present in different molecular orbitals. The molecules will have different electronic states depending on the spin of the electron. The spin multiplicity of a molecule is equal to 2s plus 1, where s is equals to total spin of electrons. We are aware that there are two electronic states of a molecule depending on the spins of the electrons. In most organic molecules, all electrons in the ground state are paired. When one electron is promoted to an orbital of higher energy, the two electrons may not have the same spin. A molecule in which all spins are paired is called a singlet state, while a molecule in which two unpaired electrons have same spin is called triplet state. The spin multiplicity decides the electronic states. If all the electrons are spin paired, total spin will be 0 and spin cancels. Therefore, spin multiplicity is equals to 1, called as singlet state, represented as S0, S1, S2 represents ground state and different excited singlet state. On the other hand, if all electrons are unpaired, that is with a parallel spins, the spins do not cancel each other and total spin will be 1. Hence, spin multiplicity will be 3, called as triplet state, which is represented as T0, T1, T2. For every excited state S1, there is a corresponding triplet state T1. Most of the organic molecules are ground singlets, that is S0. It's found that triplet state has lower energy than singlet state. That is, average lifetime of triplet state is 10 raised to minus 5 to 10 raised to minus 3 seconds. It has longer life than singlet state. T1 is paramagnetic while singlet state is dimagnetic. The singlet and triplet is called as spin multiplicity states. Students, in a molecule in ground state, the electrons are present in sigma, pi or n orbitals. There is electronic excitation when a molecule absorbs light energy. That is, electrons are transferred from bonding molecular orbital to antibonding molecular orbital. Consider various transitions arranged in decreasing order of energy. Consider the different types of electronic excitations. First is sigma to sigma star, second is n to sigma star, third is pi to pi star, and fourth is n to pi star. Out of 4 excitations, the pi to pi star and n to pi star are more important in organic photochemistry. Next is selection rules. All types of electronic transitions may not be possible. The electronic transitions are governed by selection rule. Consider the following electronic transitions. First is allowed transition. These are transitions which takes place between singlet state or between triplet states. Thus, singlet to singlet, that is S0 to S1, and triplet to triplet, that is T0 to T1, are allowed or permitted transitions. Second is forbidden transitions. These are the transitions between singlet and triplet states. According to selection rule, they are forbidden, but does not mean that they do not take place. But they are highly improbable, that is S0 to T1 and T1 to S0. However, these transitions sometimes occur due to bending vibrations present in the molecule. The molecule changes its shape and thus can pass from singlet to triplet states. So students, in our today's lecture, we have started with the principles of photochemistry. In that we have discussed about quantum yield, electronic states and transitions, and selection rules.